In this corner, we have Sekhmet. In this corner, we have Sekhmet. Let's make them fight. Hey everyone, welcome to Princess Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we're here with episodes 7 and 8 of Castlevania Nocturne Season 2. That's right, we're doing the final two episodes. I just thought it was probably a good idea to get this series finished up rather than come back from our break that we're having next week with only one episode to go. It's not the only show we're finishing up this week either, so it just works out really well in that regard. So we're going to finish out Castlevania Nocturne, and I'm very interested to see how this closes out. This season has been a little bit of a mixed bag for me. I've enjoyed it for the most part, like 90%, but there is that 10% that has left me scratching my head a little bit. Specifically, the way they've kind of split the party felt a little unnatural. And on top of that, I'm a little mixed on how they've like handled Maria this season, especially regarding everything that's been happening. I just feel like they tried to make us think something about her that I just naturally would never have thought. You know? They tried to make us like think like she was in the wrong at some point here, and she wasn't. And then they just dropped it, and it's like, okay, sure, I guess. But yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of that. Plus, they're kind of forcing Juiced in as if he's like a big deal or now or something. Like obviously he was a big deal in the past and all, and but they're acting like he's been a part of the group for a lot longer than he has and has like this bond with them. He doesn't. Especially with Maria, they're trying to act like he's like a grandfather figure to her or something. He's not. He has no reason to be. They don't have this relationship. It's just like I don't understand what they're trying to. It's like they skipped an entire character arc with Juiced and are just showing us the payoff without any of the build up. I don't understand that. But on top of that, this is all being set up for the big battle. And again, I've said this before, I don't know, like, what the deal is with, like, the future for Nocturne. But if this does only end up being this, how are they going to... Because they would have to defeat Dralta. They would have to defeat the Sekhmet-possessed Elizabeth, or Erzsébet. I did that at the beginning of the season, too, where I called her Elizabeth instead of Erzsébet. They have to take out the armies, which, mind you, those might be taken out by the night creatures, since we're clearly setting up for them to rebel, now that their master is gone. And then there's, like, a lot of other plot points that we just don't really have concluded. And in 2 episodes, could we tackle a lot of that? Sure. But I don't know if we'll be able to tackle all of it. It's like, there's just so much to do in 2 more episodes. And it's, I don't know at this point. And then if we do get another season, will Erzsébet still be around? Will we have a new villain, sort of like how the first series started us with Dracula and then moved on to Carmilla? How is this going to work? A lot of questions here. But I think the best way to figure this all out is just to watch. So like I said, we're going to watch the final 2 episodes of the season. And after that, in the afterthoughts, I will talk about what is going to replace this. But for the time being, yeah. Let's just get into this and see what we have in store. Hold up just a sec. Before you click that link down in the description below to get to today's video, I want to remind you of all the awesome content we have both on this channel and the Princess of Gaming channel. Let's check it out. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So with this ending, I can see there either being a third season at some point, though from what I've gathered, and I think I looked this up last time, nothing I can see is confirmed so far. But this definitely ends in a way to where a third season is absolutely possible. There are certain things that just weren't answered or resolved, such as with Tara and whatnot. And with Mizrak being turned into a vampire now, there's also that aspect that could be explored. Richter never got his revenge yet on Olrox, and is basically saying it's like, you can go for now, but I will want my revenge one day, basically. They would just have to get a new villain, which is absolutely possible, of course. It's just a matter of, like, figuring out where to go from here. If they leave it off with this, though, and either decide to go for, like, a new Castlevania at this point, like, just another new series, or just don't end up making any more after this, I can see this being at least a mostly satisfying end. The couple of loose ends do, like, weaken it a little bit in that scenario, but it not enough to, like, really, like, hurt its overall quality. So the big thing here was that this was all about Dralta all along. She was the true main villain. She was the big bad, and this season had, like, really set up for that, like with the episodes focusing on her backstory and how she even met Erzsébet and everything. It was clearly the story of a good-natured woman who lost her way due to tragedy, pain, and corruption. She became evil through all of this. And mind you, as she even said, like, she thought this is what Sekhmet wanted. She was twisted into thinking that this was, like, a good thing that she was doing, all things considered. At least in the eyes of her goddess. She genuinely thought she was doing right. And when she was proven to be wrong, when the souls of Sekhmet were taken from her, she was reduced to a raging lunatic. She had nothing left. Her entire life was, like, meaningless. She was only fighting still out of desperation and pain and anger. It really is a tragic story. But she also did need to die. She was evil. Well, I mean, die again, mind you. She was evil, and there was no getting past that at this point. She needed to be killed. There's almost a side of me, though, that wishes, like, there was, like, a small scene of her finding peace in the afterlife. Maybe reuniting with, like, that one kid that she had connected to back when she was good. Back before she had become a vampire and everything. I think that would have been a nice scene. Because it would show that there is humanity in these vampires. And it also would connect with her backstory and everything, and showcasing that she is a tragic character. Despite being the main villain, unlike Erzsébet, she wasn't just a power-hungry psychopath. She actually had humanity to her. Like, Erzsébet was actually the more evil one, and she was just a pawn in the end. I mean, it seemed more so that, like, I guess Dralta became disillusioned with her or something. She's like, oh, this is who I chose to put my faith and trust in. No, you're not worthy of this anymore. That's kind of how it reads when you think about it. I don't know if that was the intent or if it was just that it was all her plan from the beginning to take it over from Erzsébet, and Erzsébet was just a puppet. I don't know, but it very much could be read as her just sick of Erzsébet's shit, which fair. I mean, after Erzsébet's literally throwing a hissy fit, pounding her fist on the ground, crying, like I'm the Messiah. I'm supposed to be the best, and it's like, oh my fucking god, it's hilarious and really fucking sad. um, I like the character arcs that the characters went through, though I still not the biggest fan of how they tried to handle Maria's and kind of went back on that. Juiced as well was, like I said, he just kind of changed very suddenly, and he feels like an entirely different character than he was in season one. It's just, I feel like we're just missing context with him. And don't get me wrong, I'm fine with him being kind of like this grandfatherly figure to Maria and like just finding his purpose again. I like that idea. I just feel like he kind of just changed out of nowhere. There was no build up to it. No proper like handling of that character arc. But everyone else's, like Richter's character arc, gaining self-confidence and whatnot. You have Annette's character arc with her, like, discovering more about her family and kind of coming to peace with her mother's passing and everything. You have Edouard and his death and rebirth and everything. Olrox and Mizrak with their forbidden love. It's like all of these character arcs were so fascinating and interesting. Even with the bad guys, even with Dralta and Erzsébet. And I'm very happy with how it ended up turning out. I mean, you also have to account for the phenomenal animation and action sequences, which were like a huge highlight. Um, a lot of people I know have been praising that because it's what they always talk about. I never see anyone talking about the story when it comes to either the original Castlevania or Nocturne. They always are just praising the animation. Which, fair, I get it. But it feels very much like a One Punch Man situation to me, where that's all people care about. And it's like, if the animation were less than this, they would lose interest in the series. It's like, that, because that's what happened with One Punch Man. Season 1 was animated so phenomenally, that's all anyone ever talked about. So when Season 2 switched to a different studio and suddenly had less high quality animation, people are like, oh, this show became terrible. It's like, no, it didn't. The comedy is still top tier. The character work is phenomenal. The story work is great. It's like, honestly, Season 2 is better in all of that. In everything than Season 1 except the animation. But that's all anyone cared about. The animation suddenly takes a bit of a dip and they just think the show went to shit. Because that's all they cared about with One Punch Man. They were never paying attention to the story. They never paid attention to the characters. They didn't care. They just were like, oh, cool animation. Makes my brain go burr. It's like, that's all they give a shit about. And here's the thing. You can be into a series for whatever reason you want to be into it for. Feel there was more words there than necessary, but you know what I mean. Whatever the reason you're watching a series for is absolutely valid. But I don't have to understand it. I want to make that clear. I accept your way of viewing a series as valid, as just as valid as mine. But I also don't have to understand or agree with it. I just agree with your right to have that view. For me, story and characters with any series or movie, etc., unless it's like specifically an episodic series, is the most important thing. Always. You can have a great series with subpar animation, but you can't have a great series with subpar character and story work. You can't. Because that's what drives a series. And again, it's all opinion, it's all subjective, it's my view on what makes shows good, on what makes shows worth watching. But I'm allowed to have this perspective just like anyone else is allowed to have theirs. I believe that without good storytelling, without good character work, a show is not worth watching. It can be as well animated as possible. It will not be worth watching without good story and character. Luckily, this series, while being exceptionally well animated, also has phenomenal character and story work. So we're good on that. But I'm just saying, I feel like if this series suddenly took a dip for whatever reason in its animation budget, I feel like a lot of people would turn on it, and that just feels unfair to me. Um, I really like the voice work as always. Like that was great in the original series. It's great here. I really like what they did with apparent changes. I've heard about these changes, but I don't know like all the details because I never Rondo of Blood is one of the Castlevania games I never played. I only played a couple of them, and I think I only completed maybe two, and I could not tell you offhand what ones they were. But um, yeah, apparently, like I said, I heard something about like Annette being a much smaller character in the game, and Dralta too. So it's really interesting. They're two of the most important characters in this series. Dralta being the main villain in the end, and Annette being one of the main characters. Honestly, I would say Annette's more important than Maria, if we're being honest. Um, in this season specifically, I guess is more accurate though. Because in season one, Maria was absolutely more important as a character. But in this season, I think it kind of flipped. Annette took more of a lead role while Maria took a secondary role. She's still an important character, but just not as much as she was in season one. I mean, all of the squad, all of our main team are important characters. Even Mizrak, who was the least important, the most expendable of the group. So it's like they all have their importance. It's just to different degrees. But yeah, this was a wild finale. A lot of great stuff. I really love what they did with the mythology. I love what they did with like the different battles. How the battles between against Erzsébet was so different than the battle against Jalta. I like just Sekhmet's role in it all and how everything kind of connected and things happened in ways that we weren't expecting. It was just fantastic. It was super well done. It was an engaging watch all the way through, and I'm glad that I finally got to it. But that remains with the past now. We got to move on towards the future, and I know just the series to take this place on Wednesdays after we come back from our break next week. So just as a reminder for those who may have forgot, we are going to be taking a break from reactions next week. Just a spring break to refresh myself, get myself ready for the next uh, the rest of the year, basically, up at this point. So we're taking next week off from that. Let's Play stuff will continue as normal because that's pre-recorded and can be put up before like even the week begins. I could just have it scheduled to go up. So that's not an issue. But reaction stuff will not be recorded or uploaded during that week, shows or movies. But the following week we will be coming back. So 2 weeks from today, we will be starting a series that I have been extremely hyped for. Because it's a series by a legend of the anime industry. A man who has created so many phenomenal shows and has just really understood the assignment, I guess you could say, every time. 3 of his shows are exceptionally critically acclaimed. The fourth one would probably be if it got the proper attention it received or it deserved. And this one, unfortunately, is looking to maybe be a repeat of the most recent. It's looking like it might not get the attention it deserves because of varying reasons with how anime is being, marketed these days. I'm, of course, talking about the works of the always phenomenal Shinichiro Watanabe. I mean, he's been acclaimed for Cowboy Bebop, for Samurai Champloo, and for Space Dandy. And I think his best work is the one that went under the radar, unfortunately, with Carol and Tuesday. But now he has another work coming out, and just in time for us to return from break in 2 weeks, we will be starting Lazarus. I am very excited for this, because Carol and Tuesday is one of my favorite shows of all time. And although I think that that Cowboy Bebop is maybe a little overrated by anime fans, I do think it's a fantastic series. And Samurai Champloo is great. Space Dandy's probably my least favorite of them. But I enjoyed it enough. Like, it wasn't a bad series by any means. It's just not as much my thing. And while I don't know the entire synopsis of what this series is going to be about, Shinichiro Watanabe has confirmed once again that it takes place in the same canon universe as his other shows. Every single one of Shinichiro Watanabe's shows takes place within the same canon continuity, just at different points in time and whatnot. I think Cowboy Bebop and Carol and Tuesday take place around the same period of time. Samurai Champloo is obviously a very different time period, but it's the same universe. Space Dandy, I think, might be in the future from Cowboy Bebop and Carol and Tuesday. And I have no clue about Lazarus. But again, Shinichiro Watanabe has stated that all of his shows take place in the same universe. Just, different times and all. So I wonder if that means we'll have the same monetary system again. If we'll, because the same monetary system was in both Cowboy Bebop and Carol and Tuesday. Yuans, I think they were called, if I'm remembering right. I wonder if we'll have any kind of other references that we might recognize, or even just little Easter eggs in there. That would be really cool. So I will wait to talk about this series more until we get to it in 2 weeks. I'm not going to look up any other spoilers. I'm not going to look up any trailers. I'm not going to look up any synopses. I do know, I think the very base concept of it, but I'm going to wait until then to talk about it. If you want to look it up, please do, check it out. Just keep the spoilers away from me. But yeah, so Lazarus will be joining our Wednesday slot starting in 2 weeks. In the meantime, tell me in the comments below, what did you think of these final 2 episodes of Castlevania Nocturne? And for now, I'm Connie and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.